some of the best days for stocks occur during a bear market. Sound crazy? That's what I'm thinking about today. We're heading into summer here. Stocks continue to be choppy. And just recently, we did touch into where now official bear market territory. And that's on a lot of people's minds, including mine. Who knows where we are on these things? As I said in a previous episode, oftentimes we'll see things in circumstances like this, especially in midterm election years where, hey, we're not going to see the bottom of the market until August or September or October, something like that. Who knows what's going on there? But I came across some really interesting information I wanted to share with you, talking about what happens during bear markets, and I just never considered that this could be the case. So let's take a look at this slide here. There's 3 bars. We'll focus on the outsides first. I'm going to start over on the right-hand side there, and what this shows is a depiction of S&P 500 returns, the daily returns. It goes back to 1928, and it says here the 30% of the total market returns of all the days, 30% of them on the right during a bear market. And that makes sense. You've all heard me say this before. 75% of the time the market's up. Here this shows 30% of the time we're in a bear market, 70% in a bull market where things are going up, right? So of all the returns going back almost 100 years, 30% of them occurred during a bear market. Now let's skip over to the left-hand side. And this study looked at the worst 100 days, the single worst 100 days going back almost 100 years. What do we find? Almost 80% of those happened during bear market. It's like, well, duh, right? Hey, we're in a bear market. Most of the really bad days in the market occur during a bear market, right? Skip over here. So nothing groundbreaking so far, right? But skip to that middle bar here. And what that shows is the best 100 days. What percentage of the best 100 days occurred during a bear market? And the number is 58%, right? Almost 60% of the best days over the last almost 100 years have occurred during a bear market. And think about what this means, right? It's like if all the returns were evenly distributed and 30% of the time we're in a bear market, you'd expect 30% of the worst days and 30% of the best days to have occurred during a bear market, right? Well, it doesn't. 80% of the worst days occur when the stocks are down, makes sense, but also 60% of the best days, like twice as many as you'd expect just by random numbers. And I thought that was really interesting just to think about some. I mean, we've had some pop-up days, things going well. And the gist of this article is, and I'll put a link in the notes, but the gist of the article was, hey, when you see those little rallies, don't think like it's over, right? And don't think we're on the rebound necessarily. Totally makes sense, but a little bit more fear-mongering than I like to think about. Again, who knows? Maybe we've got another slide that comes down over the coming months with this stuff. So they're warning against getting too enthusiastic. What I take from this is that, it's just so impossible to time the market to say, oh, things are bad, let's get out. You're taking a chance at risking missing the biggest days. Those don't happen when things turn around. Those things happen in the eye of the storm that we're missing out on those huge gains. So trying to decide when the time is to go in and out, again, nothing that you don't know as a viewer here, but it just reinforces that idea that, listen, we can't predict what's going to happen. You can't time the market. And we're going to have a lot of bad days if this bear market, continues to go deeper, but we're also going to have a lot of the good days, and that's why we have to stick to it and stick to our plan. The article referenced another study about the NASDAQ, the tech company stocks. That index has only been around since 1971. The results were even greater at that time. There was only 8% of the time going back to 1971 was NASDAQ in a bear market, and 80% of the best days happened during that time frame. So we're talking S&P 500 large stocks, we're talking NASDAQ. I mean, it seems to be that there's something universal, or at least something somewhat consistent. Does it mean anything? Are we going to have great days? We don't know that, but it's a different story than what you hear out there in the common news. So that's what I'm thinking about today. As always, I'm interested in hearing what you're thinking about. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop a note in the comments, shoot us an email directly. And as always, thanks for watching.